So today we're going to take a look at the Des Moines. 2023 is a long ways from when Des Moines was initially released into this game. One of the original ships that came out, 2015. And how does it play these days? Well, I hadn't really played it much, and we actually got pretty much the perfect matchmaker for a great Des Moines game. So we can't let this one slip. We do find ourselves in a full tier 10 game for the most part, and not having to deal with super ships, not having to deal with carriers, not having to deal with submarines. So certainly matchmaker was on our side here. A lot of DDs to deal with, Des Moines of course having this amazing DPM, and the radar allowing us to have a ton of battle impact. If you know me, you'll know I love cruisers that are going to have this radar combination allowing me to impact games through killing enemy DDs and helping my team win caps. That kind of thing is really, really powerful. Des Moines going to do that really, really well these days. That really hasn't changed. So Des Moines is still definitely a very strong ship these days. However, let's be honest, the game has changed a lot over the years. The addition of subs and these new type of carriers, which have been around for quite a while, certainly made things more difficult for the Des Moines here. Its AA is nowhere near enough to stop any sort of carrier strikes, especially when you're on an island like this. This is a really, really strong position, as you're going to see here, but you can't play this when there's a carrier in the game, simply because you're a free target. You're just a very easy drop to get. You're not moving, you're not able to maneuver very easily, and typically you're using this island as cover, so you're not going to have a lot of teammates around you, because if they're out in the open this close to the enemy team, they're probably going to die. That's just kind of how things go when you push up aggressively like this, and then use islands to help you survive. And that means that you don't have any help with your AA. So very difficult thing to deal with as a Des Moines on an island like this. We really want to play here, especially because of overmatch as well. Des Moines has 30 mils armor, which has been buffed since it was released. That was a long time ago though. Des Moines had 30 mil of armor for quite a while now. It actually came out with 27 deck armor and upper belt armor. So got overmatched even by things like Montana back in the day. But no longer. We find ourselves up against an Alsace here. Only having 380s means we should be pretty immune to his AP, although he does manage to cheek us there. I thought I was angled enough, but apparently I wasn't. So to fix that, we're going to go directly bow in. Des Moines not only has amazing HE and DPM there, the armor piercing is just awesome. If you haven't played this ship or seen it before, the AP has improved pen angles. So you're going to see me just stick with AP, even when this Alsace is pretty angled. And that's just because these shells can pen at pretty steep angles still. And the damage output, as you can see, is pretty good as well. We're just going to absolutely destroy this Alsace. So it is very strong still, but again, there's a lot of ships in this game that will counter a Des Moines playing on an island like this a lot more. We just happen to not face them. But I'm glad, honestly. I haven't played Des Moines much because I found myself a little frustrated at times in dealing with enemy carriers or subs, that kind of thing, or just feeling like it's very difficult to push up to islands like this without essentially throwing my ship away. So I'm pretty happy that I actually managed to get this game. But don't think this is an accurate representation of every match in a Des Moines. It certainly is nice to know though that this ship still has it even after all these years. It does, however, remind me that there really is a very fun game hidden underneath some of these annoying mechanics. And it's a little sad for me that Wargaming hasn't leaned into that very fun side of this game more. I do think they still try and promote it at times. It just sometimes feels like they get a little too distracted by some of these new classes they're trying to add into the game, and maybe haven't thought them all the way through potentially in how they are impacting this core gameplay of surface ship combat here. In this case, we're going to farm this Ohio over this island here, a very dangerous target to deal with, but since we were able to push up and use this island here, we are able to do this without too much risk. And maybe there needs to be a little more risk involved in this, especially if we were to rework how certain game mechanics work around carriers and subs, these kinds of things. Maybe we'd find ourselves in an HE spamming over islands meta like we maybe used to see years ago. I do think though that that meta is a little more fun personally after playing so many years now with these new carriers, Just seeing how matches develop where people tend to stay behind the D line or the G line. People don't really get any closer than that. A lot of games at higher tiers are held at 20-kilometer range rather than this 10 to 15-kilometer range we see using islands. So it does disappoint me a little bit that these kind of games can't happen a little bit more often and that Wargaming hasn't focused on them a little bit more, because I do think they are more dynamic. And yes, because we were able to use that island, we could farm that Ohio. But in matches like this, you also have that opportunity to use those islands to push up in a battleship as well and cover yourself from these HE spamming cruisers. I found games were a little more creative. I found myself able to actually make more of a battle impact, have little closer range engagements that are personally a lot more fun. You guys know how much I really do enjoy brawling, and that's one of the reasons I'm enjoying ranked a lot more these days as well. It's a lot less ships on the board, allowing for a little more creative opportunities to use islands and push up with without getting focused down quite as much as we would see in random battles. But as you can tell, I'm a little conflicted on how I would like to see this game go. I just miss the days where we had a little more pushing, and Des Moines in this match certainly reminded me of those years ago where a lot of Des Moines matches would actually look like this. Very aggressive, pushing up to an island near a cap, and then making use of your radar to impact the games. And then maybe getting pushed by a battleship or something like that. It's always more fun when the ranges are a little close, at least I think so. We do manage to get a win here. Insane battle impact here with our Des Moines. Not quite managing to get a Kraken, unfortunately, but 172,000 damage, and a lot of that was DDs. So that's actually 2.8k base XP, which is quite a lot. As for the build here on the Des Moines, I do rock a pretty basic cruiser build, definitely taking concealment. Superintendent here is excellent for more radars and heals. Even taking survivability expert simply because I want to live just a little bit longer getting into some of these positions. Adrenaline Rush as well as top grade gunner are pretty useful if we can play those very close island positions. Typically someone will be within our concealment range, and that's going to give us just an 8% reload buff. That's very, very useful. Priority target here allowing us to see how many people are shooting at us. Maybe we need to duck for cover if we get focused a little too hard there. Gun feeder and grease the gears here are excellent for Des Moines guns since the AP and the HE are both so strong. It doesn't have the best turn time, especially 203mm guns. 26-second turn time here is not great, especially since we're not even taking reload mod. Yeah, we're taking range mod. The meta does exist for a reason right now. It's very, very campy, this 20-kilometer plus kind of deal, so Des Moines struggles into that a little bit more. Those matches where you're not able to play like I did in this one, for the reasons that I have already mentioned. We just want to be taking the range mod. We already have great DPM as it stands. Concealment, of course, and then I use propulsion like I always do on these island-focused cruisers. It's very nice for maneuvering around islands just a little more quickly. That's going to be the Des Moines. If you haven't played this thing recently, try it. It might be a little difficult if you don't get the perfect matchmaker like I showed in this one, but it's still a really, really strong ship, and I like to see some of these older ships doing reasonably well these days, honestly. Reminds me of those really fun times back in the day where surface ships played a little closer to one another. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.